That's the wrong program. Sorry. Welcome, everybody. Techie got a haircut, it looks like, or you just combed it different. I don't know.
I just brushed it. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay,
I got
good.
a haircut. I got a haircut.
Okay, good. Good. Okay. Well, we're going to get started. People will keep joining as we do. So, but I want to start off. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. For those of you on the Wasatch Front in Utah, apparently it's snowing right now. Vernal is not snowing. I'm sure Atlanta's probably not snowing.
81 degrees today. 81
there you go.
and sunny.
There you go. It's always fun.
Good time to get out in the yard and work.
Yeah, exactly.
Soon.
Let me pull up my deal here and share the screen. And okay, you guys can see that. Charles, let's have you read that because I'm picking on you because you're the only one I can see right at the moment.
No, you're fine. We're good?
Yeah, good.
Okay. Trustworthy. We are worthy of trust. We are competent and reliable. We do what we say we'll do, and we make and keep our commitments.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So I love that. I love that we strive to be worthy of trust and that we are also competent and reliable. How many of you feel like you're competent and reliable? Everybody raise your hand, please. If you don't raise your hand, we're going to have Kyle's watching and he's going to take notes. So good job, everybody. You're all competent and reliable, doing what we say we're going to do. That's an amazing part. And we're learning some great things of what we say we're going to do, which is really cool. So before we get started into the document, and do you guys know how many weeks we've been going now? How many weeks as of today? Yeah, 4 weeks. And we're not out of the documents yet. And we still have one more to go after this one. So one of the things that Ted asked me to do, he said, look, we want to read every point of the documents. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to focus all of our attention on every point, but we're going to read every point of the documents. This is kind of our constitution. It's everything that we believe and live for within the company. And we base all of our training and other material around these things. When we hire for talent. We hire for strengths. And, that's the goal behind all of this. So let's think about the last few weeks. You guys and I've got the full screen on so I can kind of see you. But what have you learned so far? Being 3 weeks into this is the 4th week. What have you learned so far with what we've gone through? Any thoughts about that? Techie?
Yeah, I really like the book Breaking All the Rules. And the main thing I got from Breaking All the Rules is I feel like I have this idea or this impression of we look for potential and we look for when it comes to hiring, retaining our workforce, we look at the individual and we separate that from action in a sense. And so our goal as a culture is to instill this feeling of, when you come here, Smart Resources, there's a bigger mission, purpose, and vision on what we do, and then how we collaborate with one another. And from Breaking All the Rules, we kind of go against the status quo and we do things differently. And we want to have this environment where we're building an innovative company that's moving forward and making progress. And so when we bring more people on the bus, that's what we're looking for, those type of individuals that align with our mission, vision, and culture. So
okay, good. Anybody else? I mean, we've read you know, the
Carrie,
people principles and so on. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
No, one thing I would just like to add what Techie was saying. For me, these last few weeks, while I've been, say, getting out with some customers, and it's opened my eyes to ask them more about, not so much who we are, but tell me more about you. I do like to listen to them and learn more about them, but meaning, tell me about your culture. Tell me, what motivates this organization. What's your mission? So it's really opened up me to be more curious, more of a discovery on my end. So that's what's been my takeaway. And even as I have met those that may want to come on board with us, it's opened my eyes to ask more questions, be more curious. What, why, when. I say it, but now I'm like really, really diving into it more and taking more notes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. One more person. What have you learned? Yeah, Ashley Labrum.
Yeah, so I really think that a lot of our culture and mission is really based on growth, whether it's company growth or personal growth or accountability. And I really have come to appreciate that going over the documents point by point like that.
Perfect. Mariah, were you going to say something? Okay. I just saw your mic go off, so I didn't know. All right. I'll pick on you later. Okay. All right. So let's go into the document. Let me pull that up real quick. Let's see, where are we? Hang on just a second. I gotta get over to it. And hopefully again, you can read through these. You don't have to stay exactly where we are. You can read through these documents and kind of go through them, a little bit ahead and just kind of study, kind of see what you're learning, be prepared to talk a little bit about it. Okay, so somebody tell me if they can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Again, I can only see one person at a time here. So as we walk through this, just make sure that you can either raise your hand virtually on the raise your hand thing as part of the deal, and I can see that, or talk out loud and let me know that you want to say something so that I know. All right, so last week we kind of ended with these 4 keys, which are crucial to what we're doing. Again, let me just reiterate: select talent. We hire for talent, not experience and education and skill, although those are part, but we hire for talent and strengths. We set expectations. As the manager, we set the expectations. We define the right outcomes that we want, not the steps to get there. Okay. Shane had talked with me a little bit about this earlier this week. Not the steps, it's the outcomes. So just think about that as you think about people that you're working with. We motivate people. We motivate our people. We focus on their strengths and not mitigating weaknesses. Okay. We don't want to have to go through and change everybody. It's not about, you becoming something that you're not. It's about bringing out more of what you are. And finally, we develop our team. We help them find the right fit for them. And we've had some great examples of that here in the last week or two. I know that Belinda's shared a little bit, and it's not about the next rung on the ladder. It's not about status. It's about finding that niche, that groove that you're passionate about, that you love, and that you can, move forward with it. So the 5 questions for onboarding, again, we're going to jump through some of these things. We're going to read every point as I've been asked to do, but we will focus on a few things and talk about them. But here are 5 questions for onboarding that the manager is required to ensure these happen. Okay. What do we believe around here? All right. So who can tell me what we believe around here? We just shared a couple of things, but who can tell me what we believe around here? When you're bringing somebody on board, you tell them this. Here's what we believe around here. What are we going to tell them?
I'll go.
Jason?
Yeah. So that we're self-motivated, that we are accountable, that we're trustworthy. We have these characteristics ongoing, that they're our core values. And we want to find that out, who we're interviewing, if they have those same values that match up with ours. And what are their strengths? What are their, not weaknesses, but what are their strengths, and what can they bring to the table? That they're not here just for a paycheck, but they're here to actually advance their career and advance their personal life.
And so I know you've mentioned this before, but when you were being onboarded and you were told about what we believe around here, did that impact you at all?
Yep. That's the main reason I came.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
impressive. I was like, this is different. So I want to be a part of this for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Now, again, are we perfect? No, we're not perfect yet. We're not, this is human beings, but this is what we strive for. And I've talked with a lot of people, and just recently outside of our company who are like, there's a lot of companies that talk about this stuff, and that's cool. But you guys are really, really working on making these things happen. So this is powerful. Thanks, Jason. All right. So then we want to ask, like, what are your strengths? So we want that person to think, what are my strengths? That's a hard question. And I've asked that to all of you before, to be thinking about, what are your strengths? What are my roles and responsibilities going to be? So we want to be able to tell them that. Who are my partners? Who are the team members I'm going to be working with? People stay with companies because of the people they work with. They also leave companies because of the people that they work with. So it's really important to have good partners, good teams, to be a part of those types of things. And then, what does my future here look like, and how do I progress and move forward? How many of you know about what the difference, again, we've talked about a little bit, but what's the difference between the hero's path and the coach's path? Does anybody know? Again, I can't see you if you're raising your hand. You're gonna have to chime in. The hero's path and the coach's path. Okay. Nobody has any idea what that is?
I can share.
Okay.
Oh, Jason's got it too. Go, Jason.
Well, no, you can go, Jeff. No, hero's path is what your strengths are. You're not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. You got to find out what is your path, what fits best for you and your strengths, so that you can, for your own personal development, happiness. You don't need to climb up every rung of the ladder if that's not your path. That's more of the coach's path, that you want to become, progress in management or whatever and become a coach. But the hero's path is just taking your own path and running with it. Yeah.
So if I'm a salesperson, and I'm a good salesperson, and I love making lots of money, and I'm making lots of money, we want to develop a path for these salespeople to do that. If you're a recruiter and you love recruiting and you want to make more money, and you think, well, the only way I can make more money is become a manager, that is not true. We want to help develop ways for you to do what you love doing and not worrying about climbing the corporate ladder. It's not about doing that. It's about doing the thing that you love. And then if you get into something that's the wrong thing because you think that you've got to do it because of that's the only way to get more money or status within the company, you're going to work yourself, you're going to get promoted into incompetence, and then you'll probably be overwhelmed and either quit or be fired because it's your incompetence. And so do the things you love. Now, the coach's path allows people who say, look, I really do want to have an opportunity to lead people and to be in this management position. And this gives us that opportunity to do so. This is what this training is about, to help develop the coach's path. Okay. But we need to understand and know what our employees' talents and strengths are, so we can help them find that hero's path, and they do the things that they love to do. So, all right. 6 things employees want. Employees want a purpose, not just a paycheck. I really believe that. Now, money's important. We all know that, right? It's important. But we also want a purpose, and that's really where our culture comes in. Employees want development. You're here, you're on this call. Employees want coaches, not bosses. Does anybody remember what boss means? I gave it to you last week. Anybody remember?
SSOB.
Yeah, I thought it was spelled backwards, a double SOB. Yeah.
Double SOB spelled backwards. We don't
Yeah,
want
get that
that.
straight.
That's not who we want. We want coaches. We want that coach who's going to be there, you know, inspiring and encouraging us. That's who you are. If you're leading people right now, that's what we need to have. Coaches, not bosses, not somebody to push you around and tell you what to do, but people that can see what's happening and help you, encourage you into doing some other things. So employees want to play to their strengths daily and grow them. Okay, this is our opportunity to use our strengths every day. Now, it doesn't mean every day, all day, because there are going to be some things that you're not going to like to do, and we just have to do some of those things. But we want to give people an opportunity and a chance to use their strengths every day. Is there anybody in here that feels like they've had a chance to use their strengths on a daily basis? Anybody? Bueller?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yet I'm also very new, and so it's learning everything and coming in with the ideas that I know have worked in the past, and you know, pitching that out to everybody and seeing how we can customize it to what we've done on a you know, what we're going to be able to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, as you think about this, think about your opportunity every day to use your strengths. Remember, right here at the end of this, it says, don't try to fix weaknesses, just maximize strengths. Do you understand what that means? You're going to work with people who have weaknesses, and you have weaknesses, and I have weaknesses. Don't try to fix weaknesses, just maximize strengths. And the way you're going to maximize strengths is knowing what they are. If you don't know what they are, guess what you're going to default to? Hey, I need to fix your weakness. You know, it's just, when you get into the book and you start reading, you'll read a story about a guy who just had a great review. He was a leader in a company and, you know, won an award. And then the next day he was called in and said, you know, we've got to put you on a path. You know, you're not doing so well. And then he's like, what? I just won this award. And they're like, well, we have this information that when they see, he says, well, where did you get that information? Well, it's called the 360-degree, you know, survey. And a lot of your people, you know, gave you this and this kind of report. See, they focused on the weaknesses. They're gonna fix his weaknesses in this coming year rather than focusing on his talents and strengths. Don't do that. Employees want immediate and continuous feedback. Weekly check-ins, not annual reviews. Would you rather have an annual review and find out that you're falling behind on something and then it's too late? Or would you rather have weekly check-ins and find out during the year all along so you have a chance to improve on things? I know I would. I'd rather be on a weekly basis. Employees want a life, not a job. They want to engage. They want to be valued and contribute. Okay. That's the things we desire and we work towards. And when you think about your opportunity here at SMART, regardless of which division you're in, are you creating a life or are you just working a job? Which is it for you? Are you creating a life or are you just working a job? Okay. And job stands for just over broke. So are you just over broke because you just really don't have any passion for anything? So we want a life, not a job. All right. Any questions on 6 things employees want? Think about this. Think about your employees that you're working with, or think about employees that you will be working with, or think about you as an employee. Do these things hold true? This is our focus and our goal. Again, are we perfect at it? No, but we're striving to get better at all of these things. If you have comments, be sure and chime in. And yes.
I like what we talked about last week, why you incorporated, and that's the way we should think ourselves as managers or employees. Is Smart Resources is our client. So we want to make sure that we're not working for JOB, but we're working for YU Incorporated, you as the CEO of yourself, and figure out how do we align with that? How do we, perform, and how do we, do our best for Smart Resources as a client of ourselves. So
yeah, that's right. And that's a really strong piece. And so think about each day, I'm the CEO of my company, and I've got these tasks and things I need to do, and I've got my company to grow and build. Really important. And you should know your strengths when we do this. So work has to include a maximum human potential. It's important that an employee feels that they have the chance to do something that they really are good at almost daily, and that they get excited for some part of the work almost daily. I want you to think about that for a second and just ask yourself the question, do I feel like I have the chance to do something that I'm really good at almost every day? And am I excited for some part of work almost every day? Ask yourself that. How are you doing? And if it's not that way, why and what can we do to change those things? Okay. And we'll talk about down here, we'll talk about the Q12 questions and the 9 truths, which come from the book, The 9 Lies About Work. So what do we expect from our employees? This is our expectations. This is the things that we talk about up here when we say set expectations. Okay, expectations. Here we go. Follow our culture. Why is that number 1? It's extremely important to our company. Follow our culture. Discover and develop your strengths. Again, do you know your strengths? Not your skills. Do you know your strengths? Have you discovered and are we developing those? Do your job. Jobs are role specific, okay? And we want to understand, what are my roles and my responsibility, and do your job. You're empowered by the company to do that job, and we don't need to micromanage, or we don't need to babysit. We don't feel like that's an important part of our company. In fact, if we have to do it, we've chosen the wrong person. So you are empowered to do your job. Number 4 is to be honest with yourself and us about your fit here and in your role. Aligned with the culture, your role is aligned with your strengths, and you have the required competencies for the role. Sometimes, we have great people, and I've seen shifts in our company with different people that just were kind of in the wrong role. And once we gave them the right role, they found the right seat on the bus, and it made it really a big difference in their career. Find your passion. Find your passion in the role and in the company. What does that mean? Maddie, I'm going to pick on you. How do we do that? How do we find our passion?
I feel like finding your passion also ties into being on the right seat on the bus. I mean, I've seen a lot of people hired to do one job, and I know if I was hired to just do coordinating and just do recruiting all day every day, I wouldn't enjoy that, because I figured out really quick that account management is my passion. And so I feel like those two are just tied really closely with each other.
So how are you doing that then? How are you finding an opportunity every day to do the things you love? Again, remember up here it says, do we take the chance to do something that we are really good at almost daily, and do we get excited? So how are you managing that?
Yeah, I just feel like I make a mix of my schedule. I'll do half my day recruiting and half my day meeting with hiring managers or going on site to clients and making sure I'm still having that account management every single day. That way I have something I'm excited about every single day. And then I find that I even love the recruiting side even more because I'm more connected with my clients.
Yeah. Yeah. So understanding what your strengths and talents are is going to make a huge difference on how you can feel good every day and how you get a chance to use that. So find your passion in the role and in the company. This is what we expect from our employees. Develop strong relationships with manager and your team. Okay. Sometimes that is weird. You think, well, this is my boss. Again, this isn't your boss. This is your coach. This is who is your coach. And coaches are there to help you and them and the company or the team win. Okay. And being a part of a team is a part of a team that you can love and respect and honor each other. It doesn't mean you have to be best friends all the time. It doesn't mean you have to go out to dinner together, whatever. Sometimes you will, but being part of a good team is huge, makes a big difference. Continue to progress and develop. That's, again, why you're here. This is what we ask you to do. We ask you to read books. Some of you might go, oh, another book? I have to read another book? Some of you have gone through college and you graduated and you're like, I don't ever want to read another book the rest of my life. Well, you get to here. Again, I know I'm reading 4 books with 4 different groups in the company, and but I'm an avid reader and I always have been, and it's a huge part of my life. So progress and development. Develop key competencies. Okay. Build relationships and partnerships, develop people, lead change, inspire others, think critically, communicate clearly, create accountability. Man, those are really good. These are key competencies. And we need to look at these as managers or future managers, future coaches, on how do we do this? How do we do this? I love number 4. How do we inspire other people? I'm going to ask Bree, because she's in this role, has a team. Bree, how are you inspiring your team?
I think how I inspire them is I really play off their strengths, actually. I see what they're really good at, what they really like, and I see what is their type of how do they like to be acknowledged as well. So I feel, when for example, I have a recruiter on my team who loves to do engineering roles and she's really good at it, and it's just telling her, like, you're killing it, you're doing a good job, like, for compared to other roles which are hard, like engineering roles are hard compared to like maybe the everyday clerical roles. So she may not have a high number all the time compared to other people, but she has a high number for engineering roles. So I always tell her, like, you're doing a good job. I let people lead themselves too, and not micromanage, and inspire them to be the leaders in themselves, to do the job every day.
Great.
I feel.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Manny, how about you? How do you help inspire your team?
Work together with them every day, show them our ideas, show them our goals, achieve goals together. When they see me, like my managers or my coach or my mentor say me, congratulations for your hard work, for everything. So I saw them, like, say, hey, I want to do this, when you see the managers or the clients tell you, hey, Manny, thank you for being here, for your hard work with us, for work together with us. They can see you like a person to follow, it's not like you say, no, a boss is a lead. A good lead is different, a boss, or different like a mentor.
Yeah.
That's why we use it for inspiring our team, work together. The communication is the case for that.
Yeah, so good communication and the fact that you set the example, right? I mean,
yeah,
a good leader it doesn't say, go do it. They say, let's go. I'll be out in front helping you. So very good. Thank you. So your teams are important. You need to think about your teams. You all belong to a team of some kind in the company. And you need to, there may be multiple teams, okay, which is good, but you need to understand that, what your team is, who the players are. People stay with companies or leave companies because of the people they work with. People care about the teams they're a part of. I hope that you do. I hope that you care about the team that you're a part of. Who people work with each day matters. Their team. When you come in, it's that team that's helping support you, that's got your back, that helps to lift you. I think that's really important. And we should look for this in our employees. Number one, in my team, I'm surrounded by people who share my values. And number two, my teammates have my back. And number three, I have a best friend at work, or I have a friend at work. Okay. And we'll get into that, more as we get into the 9 truths, and the Q12 questions as well. So shared beliefs and culture, our culture is huge. Everything has a culture. Our families, our businesses, clubs, teams, friends, groups, they all have cultures. And we draw to some of those things because of the culture that they have, that we love and enjoy. And so, but regardless of whether the culture is stated or discussed, it exists. And there are 5 primary elements that need to exist for us to have an intentional culture, which we've talked about in the first document: our purpose, our vision, values, mission, traditions, and stories. All of those things need to exist in order to have intentional culture. And so it's really important for us. So again, our purpose is our why, and why do we exist? A lot of you've read that stuff that's, Ted's posted. Why are we doing this versus selling cars? This hopefully never changes even after 50 years. Why we do things, why we exist. So again, why do we exist? For the personal progression of our people, and we make money and revenue so we can build an economic engine to support that very cause that we have. That's our purpose. Our vision: what does this business look like when it's done? Where do we see this business when we think it's risen to feel the measure of its creation? This is a very long-term view, much longer than strategy. Could be the 10 to 20 years out type thing. Values: what do we believe and how do we act? I hope that when you see the values that we have and you see the culture that we have, that you go, yes, that resonates with me. That's exactly what I love, and that's why I like to be here, because we have these values. So it's really important to understand that. Mission: what is our guiding statement that really focuses us? Traditions and stories: these are how culture survives and thrives. And, these can change as often as we want them or need them to. And this can include our summer parties, our monthly company meetings, our book reviews, our Taco Tuesdays, all those little things. We also call these mechanisms. And these are the highlighted in our employer of choice document. Okay. So, you can read that piece, and we'll get into that, the next document we get into. So to become an employer of choice, and are we there yet? No. But are we working on being there? Absolutely. And to truly deliver on our goals to build people, we must implement systems and mechanisms that will help us achieve this goal. So these are the 9 truths as we have them, and we're going to get into more of these as we get into the other lessons or truths as we move through the program. But just let me share with you again. I won't read all of this. I'm just going to read kind of the bolded areas. And think about this. I want you to think, gosh, have I heard this kind of stuff before? Is this kind of new? You know, this is about breaking the rules a little bit. People care about the teams they are a part of. Okay. And again, we'll get into more of these later. Weekly priorities with our team. Instead of, you know, just letting people wander, what are the weekly priorities that we have with our team? Okay. We should have frequent weekly discussions. And as a coach, we need to be able to coach people and talk with them regularly. Can't just push them out on the court and then walk in the dressing room and then come back out at halftime and wonder what happened. Number 3, the best companies cascade meaning and purpose. So it's not about cascading goals. It's not about setting your goals for you. It's about cascading meaning and purpose. And then you set your goals around that meaning and that purpose. Does that make sense to everybody? So we have to be careful on how we do goals. Sometimes companies set goals for other people, and we need to allow people to set goals for themselves and achieve the outcomes that we're striving for. Number 4 is to use people's talents and strengths. Obviously, you're going to hear a lot of this. So the lie that goes with that is right there at the end. It says lie number 4, the best people are well-rounded. No, use your talents and your strengths. Okay. Use your talents and your strengths. 3 things that are working right now. Okay. Present, past, future. The lie is, you know, what do you already know you need to do? So these things, you know, people need feedback. Yeah, we need feedback, but we have to be careful how we do that and how we present that. So that's what this particular one is about. Don't rate others, rate your experience. Okay. So the lie is that people can reliably rate other people. We're not good at that. You think you might be, but you're not. But you can be really good at rating your experience with that person. What's been my experience with this person? I can't rate them, but I can rate my experience with them. Okay. So think about that. That's a shift, because we all think, oh yeah, I got to rate my people. No, you can't rate your people. You need to rate your experience with them, not rate them. Okay. So love in work. Love in work. Do you think we can have, actually I missed one, maximize your team members. Okay. Maximize your team members. Love in work. Let me ask this question. Ashley Hossain, do you think there can be love in work, or do those 2 things actually go together at all?
Of course it does. Every
How?
single day.
How?
The relationship you build with your manager, with people, the ones that are in your entire team, with the recruiters, with the operations team. I just feel, and it's what I said last week and what you mentioned earlier, people work for other people. So whenever you're surrounded with people with the right energy, they're positive, they're elite performance players, and you feel that they always that you work back to back with them and that you all support as a team, it makes it, everything is easier. And you accomplish all your goals in the team. You meet easier your KPIs.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else feel like that really there shouldn't, I mean, love in work, I don't know. I mean, that's not really possible. It's just work.
I got something, Perry.
Yeah.
So, I always heard this phrase, leaders either cause you to be inspired or they cause you to perspire. And so, I look at it that way. You've got leaders that you look at, or even your coworkers that inspire you. They want you to become better. You want to come to your job because you love it. There's love in work because of that, because you're happy and actually work is fun. Or you come to work and your coach or your leader and your coworkers can cause you to perspire or sweat, like, oh, I've got to get this done right now or else they're going to get after me. I'm going to be in trouble, whatever. But so we want to follow the model of inspiration, obviously, to inspire others, inspire those around you, to be inspired by your leaders. And that, to me, that's a good coach. That's not a boss. That's somebody you want to follow for sure.
Good, good. John?
Yeah, I think that, well, something I've learned is that two things can be true at the same time, right? For example, you can love your wife, but at that moment, she might not be your favorite person, right? You might not like her very much at that moment. So two things can be very true at the same time. You can love being in the thick of it at your job. At least, okay, so just so you know, I love being in the mix. I love when I'm in front of a client and I'm resolving issues or seeing opportunities. At the same time, though, you need a balance. You need, it can be hard to be on at the same time, and you might love it, but you need to be able to also go home and have a life. So I think that love and work means you find the things that you love from it, you maximize those things, and then you take your breather, you take your rest with your personal life, with home. You find a balance, but you can find those things that you love within your work. Like I said, sometimes paperwork is tedious, right? That might not be the best thing about work, but you love the activity that comes before the paperwork, which is engaging with the client, talking to them, coming up with solutions to their problems, right? So you can love certain things of your job, find those things, and maximize them. So.
Very good. Yeah. I love this part in the center here. It says, you're magnificent, productive, creative, generous, resilient, innovative, collaborative, open, powerful. There's love in work, and we need to help our people find it. Again, that's why I asked the question earlier, do you find things that you love doing, and do you find those opportunities to do them during the week or during the day, excuse me. So you're going to feel stronger, you're going to perform better, you're going to bounce back faster. All of us need to find those things we love. And if we can't find them, then we need to talk with somebody and say, this just isn't working for me. I just feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I feel like I'm frustrated and struggling, and really have a good discussion with your manager. And our people should be able to do that with those of you here who manage, so that they can really find that place for them. It's not that they're not good people. It's just maybe that it's just the wrong fit. Okay. So we need to identify those things.
Can I add something?
A leader. Yeah. Somebody else.
Yeah. Well, I think me and then Scott as well. But yeah, I really love this principle, love and work. And I love the fact that it says you are magnificent, open, powerful. And I feel like I feel like people need to separate the individual and their intrinsic value, like it's always going to be there, from their work and their actions and their results and whatnot. Like going back to what John was saying, two things can be true at one time and they don't conflict. You could be a great person, you could be very competent at a role, but you could probably fail at something that you're expected to do, but you're still good at your job. And I think there's the principle behind that is we just need a part of love and work is being able to, one, forgive yourself if there's any mistake that has been done and know that you're still competent at your role, you're still good at your job. And then two, have forgiveness for others as well, because we're all learning. And if we don't have mistakes and we don't fail to meet expectations, we never grow and learn. And that's just the reality of our workplace. And that's what we got to learn when we try to figure out how to love and work is being present, but also being knowing that, hey, your job, kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier, the company's job is to set the mission and vision. But I think for ourselves and having love and work, we got to be able to be present, understand that our intrinsic worth isn't tied to our results, and understand that you can have bad results but still be good at your job and still be able to perform well. And that we have to have a level of humility as well as some patience and forgiveness to say, hey, I want to be able to have that same patience and forgiveness for others as well. And I think part of growing is being able to have room for failure, have room to make mistakes, and have room to not meet expectations so you can get better next time. So,
yeah, so important. And, it would be nothing worse in life than to work for 30 or 40 years and hate it the whole time. I mean, how terrible would that be that you would hate it the whole time? So we need to find that thing. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Number 9 is a leader who has followers. I want all of you to look behind you. Can you look behind you? If you look behind you and you don't see anybody following you, it's likely you're not a leader. Okay. Leaders have followers. And why do we follow? Why do we follow? Mariah, I told you I was going to come to you sometime. Why do we follow people?
I think we follow people because they inspire and motivate us. I don't think people necessarily follow other people because they always want to be like them. But I think they see like the way they move and kind of like almost want to mimic the intention of what they do. So I think people follow because they're inspired, honestly.
Do you think, or why would someone follow you?
That's a great question. I think somebody would follow me because I'm super goal oriented. I'm super like self-sufficient. And I've noticed that a lot of people on my team tend to kind of ask me for direction or advice. And then I can almost kind of see it in them. It's crazy. Like I can see like the next time something comes up, they'll do it the way I would have done it, So yeah, I think that's why people follow me.
Very good. Thank you. John, did you have a question or a response?
I did not. I was listening to Mariah, but
your little hand came up. Sorry.
Oh, really? Huh, that's weird.
Okay. It's okay.
But if I were to say, why do people tend to? I hope that is because of an example that I've set. I hope that people. I love it. I always use the football metaphors, but I like to be able to move in the pocket. Right. That means relying on your offensive line to give you that latitude. And hopefully they see something in you, an example that you've set that makes them trust you that even though they know the goal, and that's why I like the previous what we talked about is that you set the expectation. You don't go through the steps, right? If your team trusts you, and you've set the vision, then they'll allow you to be creative within that pocket and get to the touchdown, right? Find your weapon, find your tool, and use it. Could be a running back, could be a quarterback, doesn't matter. As long as in the end you make that touchdown, right? So I hope that I've set an example in that's not a specific thing, but I hope I've set an example through my work, and that's why people follow.
Yeah, good response. Thank you. Leading and following are not abstractions. They are human interactions and human relationships. So think about that. What kind of interactions are you having? Again, are you a dictator, or are you somebody that's going to lead by example, lead with kindness and respect for others? These are important things as you think about you as a leader themselves. It's really, really important. So we don't have a whole lot of time left. I want to have Arturo, if you could just read those first 8 items every engaged employee needs to have.
Of course. I am really enthusiastic about the mission of my company. At work, I clearly understand what is expected of me. In my team, I am surrounded by people who share my values. I have the chance to use my strengths every day at work. My teammates have my back. I know I will be recognized for excellent work. I have great confidence in my company's future, in my work, and always challenged to grow.
Thank you. So 8 items every engaged employee needs to have. Arturo, how do you feel about those 8? How do you feel within yourself that things are going? Haven't been with the company a real long time, but a fair amount, a chance to really kind of dig in. Are these 8 things happening for you?
Yes.
Or do we still need some work on a few of them? What's your thoughts?
I think all of them are working with me, especially within my position. My goal is to make sure the company grows, and I have to be motivated always and disciplined as well. It is important for me that I have all these 8 on my bucket every single day. In that way, I can push harder, not only for me, but I also can bring the strengths out of my team. So
yeah, and that's really important to you should be able to answer these questions. And as we get into this Q12 chain, that's going to be important to kind of go over. But we really need to make sure that these things are happening with our employees. We and with ourselves. We should be asking to really feel that we have people that are engaged in what we're doing. Makes a big difference. And as we talk about and we get into next week, we're going to get into the Q12. How many of you know what the Q12 actually is? Have you gone through those before? Some of you may not have, but how many of you have gone through Q12 questioning? Okay. So that Q12 is huge. It's something we should be doing regularly with our people, and it's something that should be done regularly with you to ask those questions. How do you feel about the mission and the culture of the company? How do you feel? As far as your job, your role. Do you have a chance to use your talents and strengths? Do you have a friend at work? Do you clearly understand what your expectations are? It's really important to know those things and to really dig in. Like, I hope, and you don't have to raise your hand on this, but like, how many of you clearly know what your expectations are. What are your roles and your responsibilities? Do you know those, and do you how are you being asked questions about them? Do you have support and resources for them? That's really important. And also, again, do you have a chance every day to do something that you love to do every day? So the Q12 questions we'll get into next week, and those are things that, again, you should be asked, and you should be asking your people, and set up a regular cadence for asking those questions. It doesn't have to be every week, probably maybe even once a quarter, but there could be more frequent times to be asked it. But specifically these 12 questions that we get into the Q12 chain. Any last comments on what we read today? Now, again, we went through the 9 truths or the 9 lies about work. We'll dig into more of those as we get into the program deeper. But any questions or comments that anybody has before we have you jot down a few things that anybody wants to say? Okay, pen and paper, or computer, or tablet, or your phone. Write down 3 things. 3 things that stood out to you today. 3 things that you learned for yourself that kind of resonated with you today. And and 1 action item that you're going to take next week to help fulfill that. Give you another second here. 3 things that jumped out at you today, and 1 action item. Okay, if you have a Utah Jazz hat, I'd like you to respond to this question. Anybody have a Utah Jazz hat? Oh, Joe. Joe, you've got a hat. Too late.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What? Give me 1 thing that stood out to you today, Joe, with your Utah Jazz hat.
Yeah. Well, here's it. It might be not what you guys are expecting, but because one of the things that I enjoy doing is watching you guys right through this process, and I really feel like that the way that this team is starting to come together has a huge amount of positive momentum in motion, because what I've been watching from this is everyone trying to really absorb and understand what it is that we value and how we can implement it. Candidly, one of my favorite things about this whole thing is as you're hiring, what is it that you are trying to answer for these other individuals that are coming on board with us, and how you're trying to both solve questions that they don't even know that they likely have, but they have. And you're trying to really set the stage by kind of bringing our A game to that recruiting process and bringing in individuals to our team and our culture that are going to value what it is we're trying to build and want the same things that we want. And I would say that those are kind of my big takeaways from today so far. But I appreciate you asking the question, Carrie. I'll avoid a Jazz hat in the future, but I'm going tonight, so I'm excited about it.
That's good. No, I think that's a good point, Joe. When I ask this question, it doesn't have to necessarily be something that comes out of the material, because we could be reading and you could be going, oh my gosh, that reminds me of something that I really want to do, and really kind of helps me focus in on that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the material that we study today, but it triggers something in your mind that you're like, wow, yes, this is what I really needed. So good, thank you. That was great. Who else? Anybody else would like to share, or should I pick on somebody? Something that jumped. Yep. Okay.
Thing that and always stands out to me is that the leader has followers, and what I think that means is a leader. It's much less about control things and people that one controls, and far more about influence. And so literally, if we see that our people are doing the things that we wish for them to do, and it's because of the influence we have set, then I think you're a really good leader. If it's about just force and then you're going to probably likely make them perspire, as Jason so well put. So I really just think, how do we become better influencers? It's a tough one, and it's something that all of us need to really work on.
Good, thank you. Yeah, it is important. Again, you guys, I'm serious. If you look behind you and there's nobody following you, are you really a leader? You know, you've got to help your team. You got to be involved so that they want to follow. That makes a big difference. Ashley Hosang, you don't have a jazz hat on, but can you give us one of your things today?
Yes, for me, what stood out the most is the part where it says people care about the teams they are part of. To me, this is the most important point of all, and my action item is to inspire others, to inspire the team we are starting. To learn as much as I can of this training, to apply it. And I'm just happy. I'm just happy for all the opportunities this company is giving me at the moment, because this company is truly believing in me. I can tell you it's really, really hard what I'm doing right now. And sometimes I do feel frustrated, but knowing that all my effort right now is going to bring something really big, and I will be able to inspire others, it's making me, keep solid and go through it.
And I love that. I think, again, one of the best ways to do that, really learn what your team out there, what their strengths and their talents are. Again, not their skills, not their experience, but what are their true strengths and talents? And then you'll really, really be able to inspire well. And that will be amazing. But you've got to discover your own first. You got to really write them down. What are my strengths and talents? And then start working on what others are, so that you can really reach in deep to touch, their lives like we should. So perfect. I love it. You guys are great. I see so many strengths and talents of you guys. It's always fun to watch the things that you do and that sort of thing, and just to really see your talents. And I have had a chance to associate with so many of you in different ways, and I have seen those things come out of you, and I love it. I just love being able to see your growth and all of the things that you're doing. So believe me, I watch, I listen. Sometimes I'm quiet. I'm not the chatty guy, although I can talk. But I love to watch and see what you guys are doing and how it makes a difference. So anyway, you guys have a great weekend. And a great week next week. We'll get a chance to go through. We're going to talk about Q12 next week, so read up on that a little bit. And we'll continue through this document, and then we have one more, and then we move on into the books. So stay safe if you're in the snow, and the rest of you guys just have a great weekend. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Gary.